What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the J&J Power Hour. We are T-minus 13 days from Christmas, 12 days from Christmas.
12.
11 for me,
Something.
technically.
Yeah, technically 12 for me.
12 for you, 11 for me. What the fuck? Honestly. What the fuck? How are we here? How are we here? Oh my, I'm not ready
I don't know, I felt
emotionally,
like-
physically. I'm not ready for Christmas this year. It doesn't feel like it
No.
this year. I don't know. Maybe it's just every year I get older, Christmas just kind of gets a little bit less, I don't know, Christmassy, special. I don't know how to describe it. But like, even like I've always been a Christmas guy. Like I've always been one that's like, yes, it's
Oh, yeah.
Christmas time. Like I love Christmas. Like let's get festive and, you know, decorate my house and, you know, all this kind of bullshit. But I don't know. This year I'm just even last year, maybe it's blame it on the pandemic and stuff like that too, because a lot of things just aren't happening the way that, you
Mhm.
know, things, you know, parades and stuff like that. A lot have been canned, especially still here. We're still kind of in it a little bit. So it's been interesting, but I love, like, my favorite part of Christmas is like going and looking at like Christmas lights when people,
Christmas
know,
lights, yeah, that's a
best
huge
thing.
product. Yeah.
but like every year it just seems to get less and less and less of people actually doing it. I don't know. Maybe that's just where I am in the world, but
Yeah.
I went looking for them and
We
I was just kind
have-
of like, there's not many around.
where I live, we have like 5 or 6 different like streets or like houses like around the state that do like crazy stuff. So if you were to Google like Christmas light visits in, you know, Massachusetts or Northeast or something like that, there's one street that does a whole thing.
Mhm.
So like you drive down one way and they have their own radio station that the music is in sync with the lighting.
Yeah, we have
of the
one here
houses
that's like that, and
as you
it's
drive
cool
by.
as fuck. There's like one
It's awesome.
they have like
Awesome.
Metallica and shit playing sometimes, and you're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, this is cool.
Yeah. So it's very cool. Like it's a circle. So you like
Mhm.
loop around the whole street and everything is in connection with
It's
the
cool.
whole town does it. Like the whole street. It's like, man, and it's such a community effort. Every year they're like, yeah, let's go, man.
Yeah, Christmas is
Awesome.
Christmas as a kid was like the best thing in the world, wasn't it? It was like
Oh,
I
by
remember
God.
like Christmas Eve, like you could never go to sleep because you're like, oh, I can't wait to wake up. So you could never fall asleep because you're so excited. And now as a kid, like now as an adult, it's just another day, really, isn't it? It's like, all right, gonna eat some food, gonna see my family.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
I'm
I
gonna
think
stroll
you're
out of
just like,
bed when
"Oh,
I
we're
get
gonna
out
have-
of
we're gonna have
bed.
some good food.
I
We'll
still have a
some good
little
food."
brother, so he's 12. So this is probably one of the
So
last
he probably
years.
still enjoys Christmas.
It's
yeah.
probably one of the last years though where it's like, you know, Santa and all of this kind of stuff. Because
Wait, does he still believe?
I think so. I think he's maybe on the cusp of like something's up here, but he doesn't.
Do you remember
almost.
how old you were?
Yeah, I do.
when-
I was 13 when I found out, so that's kind of late.
Oh, all right.
That
is late. I was a little younger. I think I was like 10. 10?
I was so I was up Christmas Eve night, and I walked out and I heard some noises and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Looked outside and my stepdad and my mum were putting together a trampoline and I was like, oh shit. And then I went back to bed and then the next morning mum's like, Santa got you a trampoline. He built it out the back and I was like, bitch, I don't fucking think so. I fucking don't think so. And I just kind of went, yeah. And then like a couple of days later, I asked mum, and I don't know, everyone's parents are different. And some people like to, I guess I'm not a parent, but some parents, I guess, like to try and savor that moment and like let it stretch out as long as it can. But I think my mum just knew like, okay, like I'm going to tell you about this. Cause I was asking.
Yeah.
But it's weird because you hear at that age, you hear things at school as well, and you don't almost want to believe that kind of stuff. You're like, no, you're lying. You're trying to like, you know, spoil it for everybody. But I'm pretty sure my little brother knows what's happening, and he's like, I think I've had a few conversations with him, and I'm like, you know something's up here, but like obviously I'm not going to tell him. But I think this will probably be the last Christmas where like presents from Santa. You know what I mean? And then it just kind of goes into the Josh bought you this gift, you know what I mean? Mum bought you this gift, and you know Christmas gets. I miss Christmas as a kid. I really do. I
it was
miss
the best.
Christmas as a kid. As a
It was the
person who most likely in my life won't have children, for reasons, obvious reasons and non-obvious reasons. You know, I will have to live vicariously through my sister's kids and through my brother's kids when they eventually decide to have kids. So that kind of feeling is kind of just gone for me in a long sense of like, I'm not going to experience that again. So it is kind of a bit, I've tried to really savor the last few Christmases with my little brother, going to my mum's in the morning and watching him, like live vicariously through him a little bit and being like, I miss that feeling. But now as he gets older, you're just kind of like, oh, sick. Like that's just, now it's just like, you get out of bed when you get out of bed. You get your. My mum still makes a. My mum is very Christmas. Like she loves Christmas. Like she sure tries to get us like heaps of presents so we can unwrap everything. I think it's the one day where she feels like she can treat us like children, and I feel like my mum just tries to hold on to that for as long as. Bless her heart. Like I love it too because it's like I feel like a kid again. I'm wrapping all these gifts, and my mum goes ham. Like she'll make sure she wraps every single present, and she makes sure that we have that feeling of like they're under the tree, and she gets like a big huge bag and there's just all presents and we get to, you know, do what we do. Instead of opening it up for toys, now we open it up for moisturizer and stuff like that, which by the way, my mum always does like a big basket of like moisturizers and shampoos and that. I'm like, mum, keep doing that because I don't have to buy this shit all fucking year because you just get it all for me there. So that's a good thing. So and then we just get a card with like a bunch of money in it, and she's like, go spend on that. And alcohol. My mum always gets me alcohol, which I'm like, at this time of year where I work, thank you very much. This carton of alcohol will be gone very quickly. Thank you.
Oh, for sure.
So like, and she's always like, I know what you like. I see what you drink. So I'm going to get you this. And she always gets us kids like, well, we're not kids, but her kids, our alcoholic beverage of choice. She always gets the right one. My mum never fucks up. It's great. Mums know best, don't they? I guess that's there's no one that knows you like your mother, is there?
No. Nope. Mom will always, at the end of the day, mom will always, Mom's she's going to know what is best for you, clearly. She's going to have the answers.
If anything goes wrong,
you know,
who do you go to first? You go to your mom.
You go to mom. Yeah.
Even I've realized that I thought I was like, oh, I'm it's going to grow out of me that I'm like, I'm not a kid anymore. I won't just run to mom. No. Every slight inconvenience that I had in my life, I'm like, Mom, help me. Like, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And she's like, she always has the answer. Well, she's always got it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just mama's boys.
Yeah. I've always been a mama's boy. I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, okay, really?
I don't care. I'm the middle gay child. I need all of the reassurance I can get from my parents. I don't look at that
as a derogatory term.
Me either. You know how to treat women very well. You respect women because you have like a very strong woman as your. My mum was my everything, and I didn't live with my mum for a long time when my parents got divorced. I lived with my dad, so I feel like that made me more of a mama's boy because I craved that like female energy.
That's probably true.
So badly.
That's probably true.
So like,
that is probably true.
Every chance I got to see, I seen my mum a lot. Every second weekend I was at my mum's house, but like, I was like craving that energy. So I think as I've gotten older, I've just attached to my mother so hard. I'm just like, yes, mum. Like, mum's the best. Like, my mum can do no wrong in my eyes. I'm like, no, mum's right. It doesn't matter what she does. I think my mum could rob a bank at this stage, and I'd be like, it's fine. She had to for reasons. Like,
you're like, it was she's a badass. Robbed a bank.
Yeah, she robbed a fucking bank. That'd be kind of cool though to say like, my mum fucking robbed a bank. Like, my mum's cool as fuck.
Oh man, that would be a story though. People would be like, wait, what? Yeah, you heard me. She robbed a bank.
She robbed a bank.
She got away with it. And then if, whether she did or not, that would be.
But my mom's in the slammer, but she's fucking cool as fuck.
Yeah, cool as hell. She robbed a bank.
My mom, I just want to disclaim this episode with my mom did not rob a bank. She's a lovely lady that just does her work and is a very quiet, small woman. That's what she is. She's smaller than I am, and I'm 5'4". My mom is like 5 foot nothing.
Yeah, no, my mom is very small as well. I think she's like
very petite lady.
My mom.
Yeah. My sister's like 4'11", so she's tiny.
Yeah, she's a small Italian, wonderful woman.
My mum's very quiet. Oh, well, I shouldn't say she's quiet. She's very loud, but she's very like quiet in the sense of like keeps to herself. Very shy lady. But man, oh man, my mum and me are not that similar, to be completely honest. We have a lot of different like. I'm more of like the stubborn type of person and more like, I guess more like competitive driven kind of person, where she's a little bit on the lesser scale of that. Like she's not competitive at all. She could give two shits. Much shyer, where I'm just like I'll just go out to anyone and be like, who the fuck are you? Like my mum won't my mum is the type of person that won't say like, hello, how are you? Like she waits to be spoken to, where I'm just like boobs, butts, like look at me. I
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
attention. Like that's what I like. So maybe that's why I get along with her so well. I don't really fight with my mum ever, really,
There you go. That's not
because
bad.
we're so different. I think we're just so different as
Yeah.
people. Obviously, there's some traits. Like I don't know. Are you like your mum? Are you very similar to your mum?
I think so. I get told that I'm similar to my dad, but yeah, no, I think so. I think I got a little bit of both in me. Like my dad was more chill, was like a
Yeah.
much more chill guy, which I feel like I'm a very laid
I
back
get that
guy for
vibe.
the
I
most
know
part.
you. I don't know you that well, obviously, but you are
Yeah.
a very chill, like pretty.
Yeah, I'm a very laid back guy,
Yeah.
but like I get fired up. I get fired up about things. And the fired up is the Italian. That's my mom. Is the Italian. I talk with my hands a lot.
Yeah,
That's
I do too.
Italian. That's my mom. Yeah, so I just get fired up. Like if it's on a topic that I'm passionate about or I believe something, I'm stubborn, A. And B, I'm like you, I'm super competitive. So like
Yeah, mine's bad.
Like, yeah, it's bad. Like there's been times in the past when I was younger and obviously like less mature, but like I would go to parties and I would be like, oh, there's Beirut beer pong. We called it Beirut. I'm like, oh, there's Beirut going on. If I get on the table, I'm not losing. I'm not losing.
Yeah.
And when I did lose, I would be pissed. Like I would have to
When
all right, I'm gonna take
yeah.
my beer and go not talk to anybody for 5 minutes while
That's
I
what
calm
I'm
down.
like.
like that's me. You know,
I'm very much like
so-
that too. I'm competitive with video games and stuff. Like I'm that type of person with a board game that I'll flip the board. I'm bad. Like you have to really be comfortable with me as a person to play shit with me because nothing I say you should be taken personally, but I'll cut deep. I'm very bad for it, but it is what it is. I can't help it. Like I'm a sore loser and I'm a sore winner and I can't help it. It's a horrible trait that I'm never going to fucking change. I'm just not budging on that stuff. I'm not changing on it. I'm like, I'm horrible. I'll get around and dance when I win something. I'm like, fuck yeah, you suck. But then when I lose, I'm like, I fucking hate you. Like, I'm like, you're dead to me. Like, I can't stand you. So it's just how it is. And I'm not changing that trait. I'll budge on a lot of things, but I'm not changing that one. So
can't budge on that one.
People know though. People like, we get it. Like, I'm a good time, but like, it's just bad.
I've been on dates before.
Oh no.
Right? I know, but I've been on dates before where like, you know, second, third date, you're like, oh, let's go play mini golf or like, let's go bowling or something. Like bowling's a great date. Bowling is a great date.
I know where this is.
I will stand by bowling. I know it might not be cool.
Oh, bowling's like nearly first date.
Bowling's
good for
awesome.
Me. Yeah. I've been on dates before where we've gone bowling and I've got my competitive side and haven't got too many replies after that.
That's what I'm saying. So you're like, you know, I'm on a date. I'm like, all right, like, yeah. And like I in the past have been in like bowling leagues and things like that. So like I'm decent. I'm not great, but I'm decent. But I'm like, oh yeah, you know, we're just messing around, we're just having fun. And then after the first couple strings, I'm like,
fuck.
All right. Like I don't even want to be good to beat them. I just want to be good. I don't want to suck.
Yeah.
I don't want to suck.
Because where's the line?
Like I'm gonna be like, no, I know I'm a good bowler. I'm gonna bowl the way I can fucking bowl.
Yeah, because where's the line? Because you don't want to suck because you don't want to you don't want to come across as like, oh, he sucks at bowling, but you don't want to be so good that like, oh my god, like,
yes.
Where's the fucking line though? Especially
there is no. That's the thing. There is no. They could take anyway.
The worst thing about this is that when it's two dudes, who's meant to let who win? There's no rule book. So I just play like I normally play.
I almost feel like I would thrive in that atmosphere.
You might,
because I'd be like, he probably wants to beat me, but I'm not
because generally girls, not always, but girls are genuinely they care less about that shit. They're just like, I don't care about winning this. I just want to have a good time. Where for the most part, dudes are like, fuck you.
No,
I want to win.
Yeah.
Some people think that gay men are just automatically like super feminine. That's not 90% of the time. That isn't the case at all.
Correct.
We want to sit down like
the same instincts that
we want to have.
do.
Yeah,
You're
and
men.
it's we're men, and it's like, and it's like, it's like so. I'm sitting here. I had one first date, one second date that was bowling, one first date that was bowling. The first date that one was a mess, but the second date one went all right. But I was in that zone of like, I want to win. I know he wants to win, but he was so much better at bowling than me, and I was pissed. I was pissed.
Did you play it off all right though?
No.
Like, or were you visibly?
I'm
like,
not
it
with
was
this
like,
man right now, so obviously it
Yeah.
didn't go
So, but did
fucking
it
well.
cause? Did it cause the date?
I don't know
like,
if
did
that
single
I was a
thing
bit.
cause the date to go sour?
He was a little bit on the edge of like he was really enjoying beating me, and I was on the edge of really not enjoying losing, and it was just kind of going like this, and it was
Should
like.
have fought him.
Well, we should have. I should
I
have
would've
just
just
threw him
fought
on the lane and be like, "Fucking knock down the pins now, you stupid
Yeah, but you
idiot."
should. You know what you should have done is afterwards. Was there an arcade at this bowling alley?
Yes, we
You should
didn't.
have. You should have
say
been
we
like, all
didn't.
right, let's go play
Yeah,
games.
and I would have
and
kicked
then you
his
could have
ass.
fucking whooped him. You would
Yeah,
have whooped him.
you play me. You play me in like Tekken or something on those fucking arcade things.
Yeah.
You're not winning.
So then you whoop them. You whoop them a few different games. You kind of go like, all right, yeah, you might have, over there.
Yeah.
This is my domain.
Yeah, this is mine.
you
Then we
kinda-
could have been
it
even.
evens out,
Oh,
and
see,
then-
you should have been there with me and
Yeah.
been like, "Hey, this is my
Yeah.
friend. He's coming along." But have you via Zoom just on my phone? Like, what should we do
Just
next?
have an earpiece. You can have the earpiece in there. I'll be like, all right.
Be like,
what we
yeah,
gotta
what's
do?
this?
We gotta.
But yeah, you play me in like, do you, I don't know, like, so the arcades in Adelaide, we have actually quite a few arcades in Adelaide, which is weird because
We
a lot
have
of
none around here anymore.
they're
Like,
a
you have to
dying
go-
breed. It sucks. I know.
It's
I
so
love an
sad.
arcade.
We
That's
have
a
a
great
couple-
date too, by the way. An arcade.
Well,
Oh,
we have a
fuck
couple
yeah.
cool ones, but they're more towards like Boston, so you have to go to the city.
Yeah.
But there's a couple like
I have to
cool like
drive, obviously.
arcade, like
Mm.
barcades, like where
Oh,
they're,
I
you
love
know,
those. Yes.
bars and which
they're
is
the
awesome.
best because you can just get fucking
Yeah.
wasted and play games.
Yeah,
Like,
you can
there's
just like,
nothing
let's
better.
go drink and then just play like old arcade games. They have TVs you can rent with like
Mhm.
PS5s.
And there's like
4s
Mario
and
Kart and shit in
shit.
there, and like I
Yeah.
love that kind
They
of
have
stuff.
Rock Band. They have Rock. The one we went
Oh,
to,
and like the dance mats.
has Rock Band in the back.
The
Yeah,
dance
and
mats.
yeah.
Oh, they're the Dance
Yeah.
Dance Revolution, whatever the fuck it was called.
Mhm.
But I like
Yeah.
I like the games that like. So I'm that person that likes like I don't know what's that one. I think you guys call it skee ball. When you throw
Oh,
the
when you
ball
throw the ball in the
into the
ring, in the
yeah,
circle
and like
rings?
that, and you get
Or, like,
different
the little
points.
hard
yeah,
brown.
yeah, that's the best.
Skee ball. That is what we call it.
Yeah,
skee
we
ball.
don't. I can't think of what we don't call it skee ball here, but we call it something else. But I can't think of the name. But I like that kind of stuff, and like the basketball hoops, and I like the claw
Oh, no,
machine where you win
I
shit.
love the
I
basketball
love
hoops.
those.
Everywhere I go, if there's a basketball hoop, I'm like, I'm gonna spend at least $2
Oh,
trying to break the record on that.
it's
on
the
that
best. Yeah,
basketball
me
hoop.
too.
That's
And I
what I'm
like
gonna
playing
do.
competitive with someone because I like to beat them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the games like Test of Strength where you fucking hit it and it goes up. Like I like that shit. But then I like the games like they have like Deal or No Deal in there, and it's like
Oh,
you
I
sit and-
love dealing.
Oh
That's
my
one of
god!
favorites, the
And
Deal-
Fruit
I love the Deal
Ninja,
and
like
No
you
Deal.
know, like Fruit Ninja, and you fucking there's a
Yeah,
big
it's
screen.
yeah.
Like that's the best to me. Like that kind of stuff. This stuff where you can win tickets and then take the tickets to the thing and be like, I want that
Mhm.
shitty fucking thing up there. Sign me up for
Yeah.
that. Like that's a good night out for me. Like
Oh yeah.
I'm not a big huge
I
club
always end up with
person.
like
and-
1,000 Tootsie
Yeah.
Rolls. 'Cause
Yeah. You just
I'll
like
have the tickets. I have the tickets, and I'll be able to get like one decently big thing,
Mhm.
and then they're like, "Oh, you got 50 tickets." I go, "All right, well,
And-
what can I get?" They're like $5 ticket pieces of candy. I'm like, "All
yeah,
right,
that'll
well,
do. At least it's
I'll take
like the
a
big
Jolly
thing.
Rancher."
Oh, Jolly Ranchers. Blue Jolly Ranchers. We have American, like you would call them candy stores. We have American ones in different shopping centers around here, like a shopping mall, and
Gotcha.
we can get, because Jolly
Yeah.
Ranchers aren't a thing here. They're not a thing. Like you have to go to an
Oh,
American
that's
store.
purely
It's
a
an
North
American treat.
treat.
So like Jolly Ranchers and certain cereals
Tootsie
like Tootsie Rolls and certain cereals like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, like we don't get that here. That's not a thing in
Cinnamon
Australia.
Toast
So
Crunch.
we go there and we have to pay like skyrocket prices because it's all imported from the US. But
Have
like
you had Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
yeah, I've got it from those stores before. It's pretty good. But it costs me a lot of money.
Delicious.
Jolly Ranchers though,
I
like
know.
blue Jolly Ranchers, I don't think I've ever tasted like
Is that blue
a s-
raspberry? Is that the
I
flavor there?
think
Blue
so. I
raspberry?
don't know. I just call it blue. It's just blue flavor,
Yeah.
and it's fucking great. And the red ones are good. I think they're
Mhm.
cherry, maybe.
Yeah, cherry. Well, there's two. So there's a red,
And
there's
there's
a
a-
watermelon, and a cherry.
Yeah,
So
maybe
it's
I like
two
the
different
watermelon.
shades of red. I prefer. You like the watermelon?
I feel like I prefer the watermelon.
don't-
I haven't had one in years.
I don't mind the watermelon, but I prefer the cherry. But the
But-
one thing I do hate is I cannot stand fake green apple flavor.
Oh, really? I don't mind it.
People love green apple. If it's that like kind of like fake.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I know
can't
what you're talking
stand it.
about because
Ooh.
I prefer when green is lime. Like I like a lime
Yes.
flavored thing. But so we have a thing like Jolly Ranchers called Ghost Drops, and they're very similar, like a hard.
Ghost.
They're called Ghost Drops, and they're very like they're basically the same thing. But
Yeah.
I find Ghost Drops to taste a little less fake. They taste a little more real. That's just me.
I like, yeah,
But
natural fruity.
they're a good
It's-
time, and that's what I get when I go to an arcade, because they're like literally like a ticket, a ghost drop,
Yeah,
so you can just
exactly.
fucking pile them in and you get heaps. So that's what I like to do when I go to them, is get ghost drops. But yeah, when I go to American candy stores, I get stuff like Jolly Ranchers, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I get they have
Cinnamon
different.
Toast Crunch is so
You have
good.
so many more flavors of like Coke, like Coca-Cola. Like there's heaps
It's
more flavor.
disgusting.
It's gross. I don't personally like Coca-Cola that much, but like I want to
don't either.
try
I don't
some
even
of
drink.
it.
I've had less than about 5 cups of Coca-Cola in my life. do
I
not
used to
like-
drink it
I'm
as
not
a kid, like a fucking horror. Like, all I used to drink was Coke, and then one day I was like, "This is really." It was making. I'm like, I'm so overweight. I am so sick all the time because I'm just constantly drinking gassy drinks. That like about 4 years ago, I just said I'm not drinking Coke anymore, and I haven't drank it since. But
I was a big fan of Sunkist. That was
oh
my
yeah, I liked a bit of
Sunkist the
yeah.
orange. That was
Or
my
Fanta.
go-to. I would
Do you
drink
guys
that,
have
but that
Fanta?
was really the only soda I drank. I did not like Pepsi, Coke, root beer. A good root beer
I
is
like
good.
I
would drink a good
like
root beer.
Sprite. Sprite's pretty
Sprite's
good.
okay.
I don't
I
mind
could drink
if I'm gonna drink like we call it soft drink, but soda. I would drink Sprite or like a Fanta. I like nice raspberry Fanta.
Like the raspberry. Okay, I was
I
gonna
like the
say like
raspberry.
grape or they have orange Fanta.
Yeah, well,
So-
regular Fanta is just orange here. Well, I don't know what it is.
Is that what it
over
is? The regular one's orange.
there. Regular one's orange, but I like the grape or the raspberry. That was my kind of ghost. By the way,
Grape
your
soda,
your
underrated- underrated
camera
flavor.
is completely frozen on
Is it?
yeah.
Everything's moving. Should I pop out and pop in?
I can stop the video and then restart it, I think. Maybe. Let's just try that.
I'm moving fine over here.
Ask to start video. I'll just do that. Did it come up as like start video? There you go. Look, now you're moving.
Damn.
We're a long way away from each other, people, so just calm the fuck down. We're literally on the opposite sides of the world, so sometimes internet doesn't click that well, but it
That
is
was
what
weird.
it is. Oh well,
Well,
it is what it is. I'll tell you
it
if it does
happens.
it again, and I'll be like, just go with it. I'll just ask to start video again. At least I can control it from my end. That's kind of cool that Zoom allows you to do that instead of you having to like get out of the room and come back in. Like I can just simply go
Yeah.
boop, boop, and it's pretty simple. So if you see that prompt come up, it's just because you're frozen. But anyway, we talked about a lot of different things then, but we do have a topic for this episode. We're not just going to go off the rails too much. Let's be honest. But I thought of this idea randomly the other day because I was like, as a kid, no matter what age, whether you're a teenager, whether you're a young child, there's always been that thing of like, when I grow up, I want to be this. And 9 times out of 10, it probably won't happen. But you as a kid, you don't care. You're like, I'm going to be this when I grow up. And I'm sure you've had multiple different ones where you're like, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be this. And I can probably guarantee that you're probably not doing that right now. I could be wrong, but I could nearly guarantee that most people listening to this probably won't be doing what they wanted to do when they were 5 years old or 15 years old or whatever it may be. But it made my brain spin a little bit because I'm like, what did I want to be when I was a kid? What did I want to be when I grew up? And at the age I'm at, and you visualize being like, I'm in my mid-20s, I'm like, this is what I'm going to be doing. And you're like, kind of not doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I had many different aspirations as a child. But let's start as a kid. What is the first kind of job you can remember or thing that you wanted to be when you grew up in your brain as like a child?
Easy peasy.
Oh,
Easy peasy.
go for it.
I wanted to be a professional baseball player.
Oh, how'd that
Without
work out
question.
for you?
It did not work. I played till about high school. So I played
Oh, so you played.
but like I played little league, and I was for little league. I was good. Like
Mhm.
I was always one of the top players in the league, like up in the upper whatever. And then I got to about 6th grade, and I stopped growing one way. I kept growing this way, but I stopped growing this way, and everyone else kind of just grew both ways. And I was like, all right, well,
that's
cool.
not happening. So 6th grade, how old is that? Is that like 13?
6th grade for me is like 12, 12, 13.
13, okay,
right before what we call junior high.
Right.
So
right at that puberty age, the best age ever, isn't it? It's just all the hormones are going crazy.
Yeah. But I played it, and I was competitive and I played like in what we call it in town. So I didn't play for the high school, but I played like in the town that I lived in. Even through high school, I played till I was 18. But yeah, it just got, once I started playing against better, like, grown people
Mm-hmm.
that are fully formed athletes that were in much better shape than me,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, all right, I could still hang and play. Like I'm too competitive to be
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah.
but I clearly wasn't like, this is not going to happen for you, Joe.
It's weird
So
that
it was,
sport is both of ours because when I was a kid, when I was young, I wanted to play tennis, and I was pretty
Oh, I
good at
love
tennis
tennis.
right up until about 14 when I got a job. And Saturday mornings, what do you want to do? Make money or play tennis? I was gonna make money, and I was gonna make.
Yeah.
I thought I was making fucking top dollar at that stage. I was not, but I was rich, in my opinion. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go and
course.
work on a Saturday morning, so tennis just stopped. But I played tennis from the ages of about 10 until I was about 14, 15. And I was like you. So you would train on a Thursday afternoon. I remember our training schedule. It was Thursday afternoons we would train, and then Saturday mornings is when we would go around the regional area and play against other kids our age. I was really good at singles. I was horrible at doubles because I hated relying on another person. I was like, are you going to fucking get that? And then when they didn't, I was like, you're screwing me over. And I was like that. I got up to like, so you would have, I don't know how it works for everyone else, but you'd have 1 through 6. So your best player is at 1. They play the best player of the opposite team, and 6 is the worst, blah, blah, blah. I was like number 1 and 2 all the time. So I was like, you're starting people that were like, yep, you're our best player on our team. And I could move pretty fast, but like you, especially when it comes to boys at 14, I was stuck at a height and a weight that was not, I was a pretty fat kid, to be completely honest. But I was stuck. My height was what was killing me because taller people are going to genuinely move maybe slower in a lot of senses. But when they're athletic and you're like stuck at a weight and you're like, I'm not keeping up with these boys, especially when I was making money too, starting my job. I was like, I don't care about this anymore because it's not my number one priority because I want to go and work on a Thursday afternoon when training's on because I want to make money so I can go and fucking blow it on fucking bullshit. Like, but that was just where I kind of stopped. And I always wanted to play tennis as a kid. I was like, I'm going to be like, I don't know if you remember this player. I think he was number 1 at one stage. Do you remember Leighton Hewitt?
Yeah, of course.
Come on. He's always that.
I know. Yeah. So I pay attention to tennis.
I don't anymore.
It's one of. I still watch the majors. If the majors are on television,
I think tennis is a boring sport to watch.
Really?
I liked playing it. Never really liked watching it. I knew I knew obviously Leighton Hewitt because he was Australian. And he was like, I think he was
Roger Federer, obviously.
Yeah, Rafael Nadal, and that I always forget
Djokovic
her fucking name.
now.
Who's the world number 1? She's Australian right now. The girl, Barty. I can't think of Ash Barty. Is it? Is it Ash Barty?
Oh my God.
She's really good though. Can't think of her name for the life of me. I think it might be. I don't know, but she's really good, and I know her, and I know obviously like the mainstays of everything, and But watching a game of tennis, dude, it's kind of like watching paint dry to me. But I like playing it. It's weird. I don't know. But I wanted to play tennis.
That's awesome. So yeah, we were both in the sports realm,
which is weird for me because I'm not a sport guy.
I would say I really only like wanted to be a professional baseball player when I was like super young.
I was I wasn't 14 and wanting to be. I was like, this isn't going to be something that I'm doing when I'm, in my 20s.
Time I was playing up there as well.
At 10, 11,
this ain't going to be my career here.
But at like 10, you don't think about that stuff. You're like, fuck yeah, I'm going to play tennis when
I'm 11. Yeah, when I'm 11 years old and I'm like,
killing it
playing
fucking
against
little league.
Other 9 and 10 year olds that like I dwarfed at the time.
Yeah.
And 5 years later, they would be dwarfing me.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
so you were the taller kid, so you just grew and then stopped growing.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I was always
first through like fourth grade, I was usually one of the taller kids and I was big. So I was like I was a good sized person. Everyone was like, oh, that's a monster kid. And then 5th, 6th grade happened and I stayed the same and they all just kept going.
I was not ever the tall kid. I was always the short kid. I remember
my parents were short.
My parents are tiny. My dad's like 5'6", 7. My mum's 5'0".
Yeah.
But it's so weird. Everyone in my family are short asses, but my uncle is 6'4". I just don't fucking understand.
There's always one. There's always one. Though.
It's everybody is
always
short. Everybody. Like my
Yeah.
older brother is like the slightest bit taller than me. Like the ever so slightest bit taller than me. And yeah, my Uncle Shane is like 6'4", and his kid, like my cousin, he's like 6'1". I just don't understand it. I really don't understand it.
Very bizarre.
But there, you like you said, there's always one. But yeah, I was always the short kid. I remember school photos would get taken, and I was always the kid in the front row because I was so short, because I could stand at the back because you wouldn't
Mhm.
see me. So I was always the kid in the front row. Like my mum has all of those photos of me from school, and I'm always the short one. I was never tall. I was always the shortest, at least the shortest boy in the class, let alone the shortest
Yeah.
person. So I just never was a towering. I was always relatively just a tiny, tiny person. So I guess tennis is kind of a sport where you don't have to be tall. To be completely honest, you don't have to. It's
Yeah,
not a
neither is-
requirement.
Yeah.
Neither is baseball.
And I
so-
feel like baseball is the same too. Like obviously if you're a bigger person, you're gonna, it's an advantage. But like there's been plenty of like Hall of Fame
Yeah.
or really good
it's
baseball
not like
players that are
basketball
tiny.
where it's like almost. It is a
Exactly.
requirement
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be taller.
Yes.
It's not like it's
you
not a
don't-
thing in tennis or baseball. So maybe that's why
Yeah.
subconsciously I was drawn to it, because I was always a short kid and I knew that I was short. So maybe it was just a subconscious thing of like tennis. I never looked at tennis and being like, you have to be 6'6" to,
play
play
to, like, be
tennis.
good.
Yeah,
Or-
to be
yeah.
good at tennis. So, yeah, tennis was always one, but sport, like, it's weird. We're probably going to go through this and never say pro wrestler. I don't know
had
if
a
there was.
small window.
I think I had a small
small
window when
window.
I was really young of being like, that'd be cool. But then
I
I
was in a
learned,
backyard wrestling federation.
bitch, I used to. We're not going to even.
Well, that we don't have to get into it, but I'm just saying,
It's-
like, there was a small couple year stretch where I was like, yeah.
I think the
let's do
reason
this.
for me, honest to God, is that I learnt about wrestling relatively young, in the sense of like what it is and how much pain
Mhm.
that would be. And I'm not a person that can tolerate a lot of pain, and I think
neither.
I would just not be able to do it. Now, have I thought about like I could talk? I've always had the gift of gab, and I'm like, maybe I could talk in pro wrestling. I could be a commentator, be a manager, be something like that, be some kind of
I think,
interviewer.
yeah.
I've always been like that and been like, that could be fun. But I don't think I ever, even as a kid, I don't think I ever went, this is going to be my job. I thought that would be fun to do, but I don't think I'd ever do it. That kind of, especially in the location that I'm in the world,
Mhm.
that's a long way away. It's pretty unreachable.
true. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, when I first started loving wrestling, and was earlier, but like once I was in it and I started getting to be 12, 13 years old, it was right in the middle of the Attitude Era. Wrestling was the thing.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was like 8 million people were watching Raw every week. Like it was ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Right? When you think about it,
That
they
is
got like
ridiculous.
8 and 9s. Like they would have 8 or 9 million people watching the
it's
show.
I
Now they
remember
can't
watching
they
like
can barely get 2.
when they were doing the Monday Night Wars series on the network and they would show
Yeah,
the ratings,
great
I'm like,
series.
a
Great series.
3.2? How they fucking are
Yeah.
getting a 3? I know that's not even the height, near the height of it, but I'm like, a 3.2? What the
Yeah.
fuck? Now
Now
you
they're like,
barely break
oh.
1.3. Like it's like
Yeah,
not a
it's
thing. Like
crazy.
a 3.2, like they were getting 4s, 5s, 6s. Like that's bizarre.
Yeah.
But anyway, I
I
digress.
know. Yeah, so we would have like, events in the backyard and stuff like that. But I wanted to be like Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Oh,
me.
here's your guy.
I love Bobby the Brain Heenan. Like he's not on my top 5 wrestler list because he's not a wrestler. But if
No.
you were like, hey, who's your top 5 wrestling people?
Yeah.
He's like
He's
easily in the
yeah.
top 5 for me. Like
Mhm.
he's like, like Paul Heyman is excellent. I have him at number 2, but like Heenan's the best man. Like he's the best manager. He was the best, in my opinion, the best heel analyst to ever do it. Like both.
He is very good.
That's
Or
just-
was very good.
Oh my, to me, it was like, I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be the asshole. But like, I think that would be so much fun.
It would be fun.
Like he was like this, just such a bad guy that I do remember being like, I think that would be fun to do if I got on like some local low, that would just give me a chance. Like
Mhm.
I think
That
I
would be
would like
fun.
at least love to try it.
I'd like to
Now
be
I'm
an
old,
interviewer.
but like this was back then,
I've
But
always well, this is gonna surprise anyone, but in the latter years of my life, in the last however many years, 6 years, I wanna be Renee Paquette. She is what I'm like, I wanna do exactly what she's doing. Like, I feel
Mhm,
like that is a space that I could fill. Personally, I think that.
mhm.
People might not agree, but I know in my heart that's the spot that I could fill. Now, is it obtainable? It, it's not the easiest thing, obviously, to obtain, but like it would be pretty
Yeah.
cool to do. But as an older person, that's always been like, that's the space I want. I want something very similar to that. I would love to host my own. I've always said this throughout my whole life. I've always wanted to be Jimmy Kimmel. I've always wanted to be Jimmy Fallon. Like, I would love to host a late night TV show or something in that vein. I think that is a space that could be really fun because the attention isn't always directed on you, but it's still
Mhm.
directed on you, but you rely on
Yeah.
somebody else to really bring it in. So I feel like that would be a lot of fun. I've always said that, even to now, like that would be a space. If anyone ever asked me like, "What's your like wildest dream?" Like that is it. I want to be an interviewer, and I want to have some personality in my interview where you can utilize comedy
Hell yeah.
and talking about what's relevant in the world. Like that's always been a fun space. I just feel like I've never had an issue with speaking. Speaking is not hard to me. Public speaking, all that kind of stuff. Just some people get so anxious about that. I don't have that issue. I can get up and talk in front of a crowd and be like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't make me nervous at all. Little other things make me nervous, but like talking in front of a crowd, I was always that kid in class that would be like, "Who wants to read for the class?" I'd be like, "Me, bitch," because I like the sound of my own voice. So,
Yeah.
like, that's always been me. So I feel like that space has always been something that I've wanted. So I guess that's another one of mine that I always wanted,
Well,
is like that kind of
yeah, I was gonna say
personality.
once I started getting a little older and in high school and trying to figure out like what do you want to go to college for and like what do you want to do and things like that. One of the things that I really wanted to do was I wanted to be on radio.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
So, which I mean, obviously this is not radio, but this is
But I
kind of
mean,
like
same vein.
stuff I learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, and I specifically wanted to do sports radio. Big sports guy.
Yeah,
Big sports
you're
guy,
a sport
Josh.
guy.
Um, and I live in an area where sports radio is huge. Boston is one of the largest markets for sports radio. It has award-winning sports radio
Mhm,
stations and shows. Like
mhm.
this is a
It's a
Boston people
hotbed.
really give a strong shit about their sports.
Yeah.
Um, and
I
I'm
only
very
know from
passionate about
wrestling. I
Boston
only know
sports.
about wrestling, but they are a very passionate. Like you see Boston
Oh
on the
yeah.
ticket, and you're like, ah, it's going to be a very passionate crowd
Yeah.
about what
It's
they like
very
and what they
much
don't.
I would say like, and it's obviously not for everybody. Not everybody that lives here likes sports. Like I'm not
No, I'm not
naive,
saying, but like
but
Boston. You know,
it's part
there's
of the culture.
yeah, and there's
It's
some
part of the
people.
culture.
Again, I'm only speaking from a wrestling perspective because that's all I know when it comes to American kind of sports, if you want to call wrestling a sport. But
Mhm.
like, you know, and there's some towns, like everyone loves their hometown people, but like there's some towns that are
Yeah.
like Chicago. They're gonna love Chicagoans or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
them. Like Boston loves Sasha because she's
Mhm.
Boston. Like they love Sasha. Like Massachusetts genuinely love John Cena because it's John Cena. So he
Yes.
obviously
Until it
is
was like too cool not to like him.
exactly. But you know what I mean? Like they love people
Yeah.
that like they're very passionate about their, and that to me shows a city of pride, and they love their people.
Oh
They
yeah.
they love their
Oh
basketball
yeah.
team. They love their whatever it may be.
Mhm.
That's only
Mhm.
again from a wrestling perspective and being a fan of wrestling, knowing that. But like you can tell where some cities are like, oh, they love theirs and they support their own. Like I can tell when Sasha comes out in Boston and she gets that monstrous reaction. I'm like, yep. You know what I mean? Like it's Boston
Mhm.
strong. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's yeah, like it's just part of it's how if you grow up in a sports family, if you have sports parents,
Mhm.
that is how you are raised. You are
Oh, yeah.
raised that, oh, the Red Sox are on tonight, so we're watching the Red Sox.
Oh,
Oh, it's a
hey,
Sunday,
it's the
we're
same thing.
watching the Patriots.
I know
Like
what you're
that,
talking
it's
about.
just
We were grown up
exactly.
in a house with AFL, which is Australian rules football, and
Oh yeah.
we
Oh
are
yeah.
told we love the Adelaide Crows. And when the Adelaide
There you
Crows are
go.
playing, you watch the Adelaide fucking Crows. And as a person who's not
Exactly.
like a huge
Exactly.
sports guy, I will make sure, even if it's on in the background, even if it's just following along on Twitter, when the Adelaide Crows are playing, I know the score. I know what's going on, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not a
of course.
huge. I'm not because there's two Adelaide teams that don't like each other. Port Adelaide and Adelaide. And you either like Port Adelaide and hate Adelaide Crows, or you love the Adelaide Crows and hate Port Adelaide. And we hate Port Adelaide because they're the scumbag ones
Yeah,
in our
they're
view.
the rivals.
So that
Yeah.
we have showdowns, and it's very hostile when you get a Port Adelaide Power fan and a Adelaide Crows fan in the same room, and they're just like, "Meh." It's just a
See, that's
thing.
a different dynamic. Yeah, because Boston, we don't have secondary, like we don't have
Oh.
second teams.
We have
So like
two.
our rivals are like legitimately other cities. Like the Boston Red Sox biggest rival is the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
We hate
Because
the Yankees.
again, this is the difference between Australia and the US is that your states are so close together and you have different states.
Exactly.
We have
Yeah.
like there's the state of Victoria has like fucking 8 teams because it's a huge state, and Melbourne has
It's
like
a huge
4.
thing, yeah.
So they have rivalries in there, but we still hate all the other ones. I just want Adelaide Crows have been playing like dog shit the last couple of years, so it's been really hard to be an Adelaide Crows fan because you're like, we're gonna lose. But like you
Yeah.
still go in there like we're gonna fucking kill them, and then we lose. But
Yeah, of course.
we got a very young team at the moment, everybody, so they're establishing. That's how I put it anyway.
You got to build it back up. You got to build it
They
back
were
up.
good at one stage. They were like back-to-back premiers. So they back-to-back. They won the grand final back-to-back years.
Like they won the thing?
Yeah. So that we have I guess you would call it the Super Bowl in the States of like the grand. We call it the Adelaide Grand Final, the Australian Grand Final, Australian AFL Grand Final, and it's like the biggest sporting event of the year for us, and it's like goes to the MCG, and there's like 100,000 people there, and it's a big huge thing. That happened in end of September, start of October every year. So because it's like Aussie rules football is a winter sport, so it starts in like March, so it's right at the end of summer, and it goes until end of September. So it goes from like the end of summer all through autumn, all through winter into the end of spring. So it goes in the middle chunk of the year,
which is clearly it's the opposite for us.
Exactly.
Like, well, it's not like football is a winter sport, but obviously our winter is September to February.
Yeah,
you know?
So it goes for us like that. So we play it in the opposite months to you, but the same season. If that makes
same
any
seasons.
sense. Yeah. So we go through there. So trust me, I know what it's like to be in that zone of like, it doesn't matter who this team is. It doesn't matter who's playing on this team. If they have an Adelaide Crows jersey on, I go for them. And it doesn't matter. And I'm not a huge sport guy. Like, you won't catch me watching a lot of sport, but I'll make sure, especially the last few years, I'm like, Adelaide Crows are on. I fucking know what's happening, and I know what's going down in the AFL. But as a kid, I remember that. Like, my whole family, except for my grandpa, he went for Port Adelaide, and we used to. I think he used to do it on purpose.
Was he from there? Or did he do it to get?
No, I think he just did it because he was just a shit stirrer. My grandpa was a shit stirrer, and he just liked to stir the pot. And so I think he did it out of pure just spite of like
get a rise out of it. Just to get like a rise out of you.
I don't think he cared that much about football, to be completely honest.
So he's like,
he's just like, I'm gonna piss you off. He was, my grandpa was.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness, I think
was he a jokester?
Oh my god. He would just do everything. I think he lived just to piss us all off in the sense of like, because he thought it was funny.
He's one of those. Yeah.
I think I get it from him. It's just, I tease like he does. But, like, so like we're all pretty much South Australians for the most part, except for my uncle. He lives away, and he goes for the Sydney team. We don't give a shit about him. We don't care about Sydney. But yeah, so it's interesting. I've been to a few Aussie rules football games in my life, and it gets hostile. Like I said, I'm not a big sports guy, so I don't go to a lot of sports games. I didn't realize how fucking passionate people get about sport. I've only ever got passionate. The closest thing to that passionate I've got is wrestling, and whether you want to call that a sport or not is debatable. That's up to you. But like, I've been to obviously wrestling events, and people get pretty passionate. But like sports, like, whoa, geez, people get into like fights and shit. Like,
oh yeah,
what is going on?
Oh yeah.
Because I'm not a cricket guy. I don't give two shits about cricket. I think cricket is the most boring sport to watch in the world. I'd rather watch a game of golf, and that shit is boring as fuck. But cricket,
I love golf.
Have you ever seen a cricket match? Probably not.
Not a full one, but like I've seen the sport played, yes, on television, but not a full match. I don't think I could sit through it.
Exactly. If there's cricket on, I'm like, get me out of this room. It's so boring, and that's so un-Australian of me to say. I don't care. It's the one thing about Australia that I probably can't stand is cricket. Like, get it out of here. It's such an Australian bullshit sport. I can't stand it. Oh, I'm gonna get so much people from Australia gonna comment on this like,
No,
fuck you,
right.
Josh.
They're not. They'll be fine. They're gonna be fine. Everyone's gonna survive.
Yeah,
They'll survive
exactly.
that, I promise them.
My opinion does not matter. Trust me.
Yeah, it's
so down here. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. But yeah, but I don't know where we were. But yeah.
No, but I was gonna
go on.
We were both talking about how sports.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Early. I was gonna say though, at one point, and I think it coincides with the radio thing for me. But at one point, I did want to have a wrestling podcast. Like I wanted to have a wrestling podcast when I first got. So I was a wrestling fan when I was younger, all the way through. I want to say I watched through WrestleMania 21 or 22.
Just tell me the main event that you watched, and I can tell you which one it was.
Oh my!
Was it Batista
it was
and
when Mysterio? It was when Mysterio won.
So that's 22.
Okay.
So that's 2006.
Not that no. Okay. All right. I have to come clean here. And this is going to be bad. I have to come clean here. You know how you just said people are going to come after you? People are going to come after me here.
Oh, no. And it's wrestling related, so this is bad.
Yeah. Totally respect him. Oh,
one
of the all-time greats.
No.
I understand this.
Understand this. Don't say it.
Rey Mysterio. Not one of my favorites.
Okay, you worded that very cleverly.
Not one of my favorites.
I didn't know
I will leave it
what's going to happen then. Ray's fine.
There is a picture. So I will have to send you this. But there's a picture circulating on social medias of me, a younger me, next to Rey Mysterio, and I am giving him the look of death.
Oh, no.
That's how much I was not a fan of Rey Mysterio at this point.
Oh. I don't know. Hold up. You can't hate Rey Mysterio, though.
I don't. At one point, I did.
No, don't lie. You did. So you did hate Rey Mysterio. How do you hate?
Yeah.
That's like hating
I was not a fan. Like, I understood why.
That's like saying you hate rainbows.
This is not now. This is not now. This is at the time. I understood why he won the title. But it really turned me off when he won the title. I was like, he's too little.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that Vince McMahon? Is that Vince I'm talking to now?
He's too small. At the time. No, Vince had to okay it. At the time. I don't think that way now. I think Rey Mysterio now, in the last 5 years, even when he was having routine bangers on TV with like Andrade and things like that, like I thought that was like, this is the perfect use for Rey Mysterio. It's the perfect use.
All right, I'm not going to touch this too much because I feel like we'll be on here forever. Because
no, again, this has nothing to do.
I
don't think
you basically just told me. I'm going to put words in your mouth. You basically just told me that you watched until Rey Mysterio won and then dipped the fuck out because you were like, "Fuck this, I don't like Rey. Get down, Giddy." Did you sub?
I dipped out from. I dipped out from. I was already fading out. I'm not going to say that was like I was all in and then went no.
But you were like, that was like the tip of the
fading
iceberg.
Out. I was in my early 20s. I had other priorities at the time. I thought, I was already fading out, and then Rey won, and I wasn't super high on Rey. I was they just did that because of what happened. He shouldn't be champion, and
that was your thought process at the time.
Yeah,
disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah, that was a long time.
You hated fun. I don't saying Rey Mysterio was my favorite.
I didn't hate fun. Just to me, I was like,
same. I don't know. I can't really tell the difference between the two.
I didn't hate fun. I just thought that he shouldn't have been world champion. That's all.
I'm so glad you said that and not me.
Yeah, it's all right.
There's his if anyone wants JPJ's Twitter handle. It's literally underneath JPJ right now. Feel free.
Look at if you're asking me if he's one of the all-time greats, 100%. If you're asking me if I respect his career and like he was great, yeah, 100%. Was just never one of my early WCW Rey Mysterio was one of my favorites. I loved the matches. I loved all that. You know. By the time that version of Rey, he was not at top form for me.
I'll just say, everyone is entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
at least you're standing by it. I'll give you that. I'll give
Yeah.
you that. Hey, and I'm not knocking you for not liking Rey Mysterio in the time. But
It's not that I didn't like him. I just didn't think he was. I don't think he should have been world champion. That's all.
Okay.
That's all.
I'm not gonna I'm not
I
gonna
will.
attack you
Hey,
for
okay.
it.
No, it is
I'm
what
not
it
gonna
is.
attack you for it at all. But so you dipped out after there, and then you kind of stepped back in
I
later.
came back
but,
with Michaels and Taker,
which is
and then from 25. I didn't watch it live though. I didn't watch WrestleMania 25.
I remember you
live.
saying that.
I heard
how good it was
because I still kept up with it on like WrestleZone and like these websites
Yeah.
and things. So I still knew what was going on. I just wasn't watching it, committing to it weekly.
Yeah.
But once I heard like, holy crap, this is one of the best, might be the best match ever. I was like,
wow.
I got to see this friggin' match.
And
then
they were
I saw
right,
the
by the
match, and
way.
I was
It's one of
like,
the best matches
they
ever.
were. I was like, holy shit, like this is incredible.
At that time,
And
I don't think at that time I don't think I'd ever seen a better wrestling match than Shawn and Taker at 25. I don't think I personally had ever seen it.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I watched it and I was like, wow, I think that's the best match I've ever seen. And it was two guys that I clearly had a strong history with and that I clearly knew, and they were older. And I was like, man, this is like, and then it kind of turned into the 3 story with Triple H. And it was like,
this is wrestling
at the
at its
age
finest.
I was at with those 3, that story, I was like, these are really the last 3.
It's the end of an
guys
era
of the generation that I was the peak of my wrestling childhood.
Dude, I know what you mean. I had such a strong connection to those because when I was first getting into wrestling properly, Shawn was just coming back from back surgery. Taker was running things over on SmackDown. Triple H was obviously Evolution. They were the 3 guys that were kind of steering the ship in a lot of ways with a lot of younger talent at that time. So as a little kid, I'm just like, holy shit, Shawn Michaels is the greatest ever because of reasons and whatever it may be. So, I understand that, but yeah, so probably I guess you were going to say something because of that.
I think we just lost track because of the Rey Mysterio thing.
But whatever, Rey Mysterio took us off there. But I mean, this is probably like one that everyone has had at some point, but I remember pretty vividly in my teenage years, like I was like adamant, I'm like, I'm going to be in movies. I'm going to be I think I didn't even want to be so much an actor or a singer or a musician or anything like that.
You just want to be famous?
I wanted to be a celebrity.
Like famous.
Mm-hmm. That was...
I feel like you and I... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, that was something that was like, that is... There's something so enriching about that. I'm like, I want people to know who I am. Because I always craved attention. Still do to a certain degree, but I don't think I want to be famous anymore because that just seems like a hellhole. And I think I would end up just going insane. But like, there's still a part of me that's always been like, I like to bring people in through humor. Because humor, I've always known, whether it may be I might be I'm not the tallest. I'm not like the most athletic. I don't have the best body. I'm not ugly, but I'm not drop dead gorgeous. So I'm like, I need to ramp up my humor to make, whether it's relationships or friendships or whatever, or just this, I need to make my humor my number one kind of selling point because that's the thing that's going to get me the most kind of like, and it sounds really awful, but I'm at an age that this matters to some people. Going to get me the most likes. It's going to get me the most views. It's going to get me the most subs. It's going to get me the most follows. And when you're doing content, as much as that sounds so vain, that shit matters in content.
Yeah.
Subs, follows, likes, shares, interactions. That what keeps your content growing. So like I've always kind of prided myself on humor. So I think at one point in my life, I was like, I want to be a celebrity. Because remember when I was growing up, when I was 16, 17, who was the biggest celebrity in the world? Kim Kardashian. What the fuck did she get famous for? Well, reasons, but also like not doing a hell of a lot. She had sex on camera, but like not knocking that. Do what you want to do. But like that really what propelled her career. Now she's... Isn't Kim Kardashian a fucking lawyer now? Like, so anything can fucking happen. But I think she genuinely is a lawyer. Like she was... A reality show was always something that I'm like, I can just kind of be myself on television and get paid. Fuck yeah. Like, I always thought, like, some people don't like that lifestyle of, like, a camera following you around 18 hours a day or whatever it is. That was, like, that was so like, I just wanted that so badly. I was like, that sounds like a dream because I have someone following me. That means I'm always on. I'm always like, oh, there's cameras because I feel most comfortable when there's a camera in front of me. I've always felt most comfortable like that. I don't know why. I've just always been, I don't know. Maybe it's a lot of the part of me, probably not to get all deep and weird, but I think a part of me, because I was closeted, this was a chance for me to be like, oh, I can be open as much as myself because I'm in front of a camera,
Yeah.
so I can be a fuckhead, basically. So I can
Yeah.
get that part of myself out a little bit. So I think that's probably why. But I've always just been drawn to it. I know where there's a camera. I'm like, there's the camera. I'm looking at it. Like I felt like I was on another episode of The Office. You know where Jim looks at the camera, kind of gives a face. Like I'm always feel like I'm having conversations with people and kind of like looking, where's the camera, so I can kind of make a face and make someone laugh. I think that's where it comes from, is making people laugh. It's as vain as it sounds, like wrap it all up in a bubble. I like making people smile. But I've always I don't necessarily want that anymore. But there's still parts of me. You've seen parts of me with how I produce content and how I make TikToks and stuff like that. Is like, you can tell how I am. And some people don't like that about me, and that's fine. But I just find it fun. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it that just gets me going. I'm like, yeah, this is fun.
Yeah. And I was going to say before, I've had, I was saying, like, I think we're more alike than we think. Because, like, I definitely went through a phase like that too, where I was like, I just think if I tried, or if somebody saw me or whatever, like, I think it would just be fun to be
a
like
celebrity,
that, like a celebrity, a reality person, an actor, or things like that.
Not even for the money either. It wasn't even about rich. I was never like rich and famous. That was never it was like famous. I never thought about, obviously I love money and I'd be like, fuck yeah. But like, I never thought in my brain of like, oh my God, like rich and famous is what I want to be. It's just like, I just want to be known to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird.
I've thought the same thing.
Is that vain? I don't know if that's vain. I don't know if
it is. I think I don't know if it's a...
Is it a bad thing? Is being vain bad? Why is it always so negative to be vain? Like, if that's what makes you happy, as long as you're not, slamming anybody, you're not hurting anybody, is that really such a bad thing just to want to make people laugh?
I don't think it's a bad thing to want to be successful.
It's an interesting conversation to have with people, because some people would look at that and go, you're so petty, you just want to like on Twitter. But also, like, if that's what makes you smile...
I was going to say, well, yes, two things. One, if that's what makes you happy, then go do it.
As long as you're not hurting anyone.
If you're creating content like you do, or like we're doing right now, like those likes on Twitter,
they mean something.
They mean something, because eventually, if you get enough of them, maybe this can work out for you.
Exactly.
Like in the long run. Like, you know what I mean?
You never know.
That's what you should want them to do.
Yeah.
Like, we very much said from the beginning, like like when you had this idea and we decided to do this, like it wasn't for that. We were just going to have fun topics and talk. And like, if it came and people liked it and blah, 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 like that would be like, awesome, obviously. But like, that wasn't the full intent of what we were doing. No. But when you're creating content, even with that mentality, like those things matter. They allow you to, like you said earlier, to grow. And
it's weird how I approach different things, because this is, content-wise, maybe other than Twitch, because it's just bullshit. I can literally just be 100% myself on Twitch, because I can just bullshit and have a good time. It doesn't matter if anyone's necessarily there or not, because I'm just playing video games, what I'd be doing anyway.
Yeah.
But I go into Twitch different to this, because I'm like, I want people to watch what I'm doing, because I think I'm fun and I think I'm having a good time. You need to interact when you're live. It's a little different. This is probably the most free-flowing content I do, of like, I don't care if anyone's listening. I know this is probably the most fun I'm going to have doing content, because we're just chit-chatting for however long we go every single week. So that's fine. But then you look at other things of like, when I make stuff for Love Wrestling, I go in with the intention of like, I want as many people to watch this as possible. Correct. And I view everything as success or as fail by watch time, by views, by everything, because I push that shit hard, because I put a lot of work into that. This is not work to me. No offense to anyone that does podcasts, but this is just click record, upload, promote. If people want to listen, go for it. If you don't, that's completely fine. I've never put too much pressure on this. That's probably why this works so well, is because we're not like sitting here going, oh my God, no one listened to the show last week. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying no one's listening. There is people listening to this. I get pretty steady numbers on the podcast version and on the video version, but like, I'm not going into this. Neither are you. You're not looking at this of going like, we're going to get thousands of views a week and we're going to be the number one fucking podcast in the world. We're not doing that. If we were doing that, we'd be pretty fucking miserable all the time, because podcasts aren't something that not everyone has an hour or two to spare a week to listen to a podcast, or nor do they want to, nor do I. I'm not going to sit here and listen to many podcasts. I might listen to one or two that are an hour long, but other than that, I can't seek out everyone's podcast because I just don't have enough time. So I understand that, but like, it's different, because I'm sure when you do like anything you do for Love Wrestling, I'm sure you're looking at it more from okay, I want people to tune into this because this is for Love Wrestling. It's not just yourself you're relying on. You're relying on. You're kind of trying to be like, I want to show Love Wrestling what I'm about, and also I want to grow Love Wrestling. So I think there's probably a different mindset for that. But you don't Twitch stream, but I'm nearly guaranteed that if you were streaming on Twitch, you would want to make sure that as many people are watching as you can without focusing on it too much, because it takes away from it. But like, you want to make sure, like, okay, because I'm live, you do Between Two Bids live every week, and you kind of you have Pluggo and you have topics, but you do rely on a chat there to be like,
oh yeah,
we need to elaborate on this a bit more. If you have no one there, you did like a pre-recorded episode a couple weeks ago, so I'm sure you noticed the difference between being live and being pre-recorded.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. And we did do a pre-recorded one because it was the American Thanksgiving, and there was a huge difference. But you're right. Like, don't get me wrong. Like this, like you said, is very free flowing. Like, I know it's going to be a really good conversation, and we're going to end up going in all sorts of directions, and we're going to fill up whatever time we do, because we vibe that way. It's a very easy thing. Don't get me wrong. If this blew up and all that stuff, like, oh my God, great, cool, that would be amazing.
Then I'd probably put more pressure on us to be like, okay, we need to make sure we're hitting certain things, because more eyes are on us. We can't be, just going everywhere. Well, to a certain degree, but you know what I mean? Like, there's more eyes, so I'd ramp up some things and be like, okay, we need to make sure that we're dropping this at this time. We need to make sure we've recorded and edited. So I'm not doing a lot of editing in this show, because I don't need to, because I think people like that in a podcast too. I feel like people like when you kind of screw up a word or you cough to the side. Like, I feel like people, when I listen to podcasts, I don't know about you, but I like that kind of, I like it to be a very freeing, open conversation where it doesn't matter if you stutter on a word. It's not overproduced perfect. Like, I don't like podcasts like that. To me, like, no disrespect to anyone that, edits out all that kind of stuff, but I like just being a fly on the wall in a conversation, no matter the topic. So that's how I do it. But
I agree.
But go on. But
it gives a more natural, real life vibe to it. If you and I, like we are right now, but if you and I are having a conversation together, we're not editing the conversation when we fuck up.
No, like if we start a conversation, we're like, and making all these noises. That to me is like what makes a podcast a podcast. If we wanted to do a perfect little thing, we would do a video that goes for 20 minutes and we go, oh, JPJ, we're going to need to re-record that line because you said stickers instead of, what, Snickers or something like that. So we're not doing that. I don't think anyone that I know is doing a podcast. Like, every podcast that I know, even the biggest ones, there's fuck ups and there's, whatever it may be. So, but if we're doing like, if you're producing something, if I'm producing an episode of The Legacy of, I will say a line and then stop recording and go, I need to redo that line because that's not what happened there. I'm not having a lot of ums and ahs, like here and there, sure, but there's more of a structure to that.
I guess. Yeah, that's how I would 100% do it if I had, kind of that type of thing too. Like we go live, so.
Oh yeah, then you got to fuck up. There's no.
Yeah, it's just gonna be natural. But I don't know. I feel like there's a couple things I've done pre-recorded, like for other things, and I feel like I put way more pressure on myself during those type of situations.
Oh, really?
Than I do. Like, it's weird because I know Between Two Beards, like, it's going pretty well. We get a steady amount of viewers a week. Like, I know people are tuning in to watch the show, which makes me feel incredibly happy. But at the same time, it's like, I go into that every week and I'm not nervous, but I'm like, all right, what are we going to talk about? Like, I know me and Pluggo are going to flip the switch and just
Mhm.
kind of be on and do our things, but like the show still needs to have some sort of substance to it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But I get more nervous when it's a pre-recorded thing. I'm like, okay,
Mm.
you're recording this, don't mess it up, blah, blah, blah. You know, like I get more in my own head. Whereas when it's live, like obviously this is recorded, but we very much this is live for us, right?
Oh, I mean,
We
yeah,
don't edit, we don't stop,
if we
we
were
don't
doing
like,
this show live, we would not have it would not be any different. It would literally be this.
Yes,
It would just have a chat element of like, hello. That would be the only thing
Yeah,
different. But I'm so
exactly.
you're so used to doing live stuff. I'm very used to doing live stuff at this stage that
Yeah,
it wouldn't
just
change
natural.
the approach. I don't know if this is a bad thing, but I don't get nervous for any content I do anymore.
That's good though. That means you're confident.
I've been
That
doing
means
this
that
long enough
you're
to
confident.
like the only time I'll ever get slightly nervous is maybe when I'm speaking with someone I've never spoke to before. But that kind of is exciting to me because I'm like, are we going to
It's a
click? Are we
challenge.
not going to click? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you don't click with everybody, so it's kind of it's fun. But yeah, I don't really get nervous. I probably if I had to say one over the other, like maybe I get a little bit more like quote unquote nervous for a live, Twitch stream or a live chat because just for the element of like you don't know who's going to pop into the chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had shows where I've had people pop into the chat and just be hecklers, and I've had moments of Twitch streams where people pop into the chat and being like, "Oh, just saying dumb little comments."
Yeah.
Like, or they read my description and they're like, "Oh, you gay?" And it's like, "Oh, here we go. We're gonna have this conversation." Yes, mate,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
gay.
yeah, yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, that's so weird." And then you're like, "Oh, fuck off." But the good thing
Yeah.
about
See you later.
a pre-recorded chat, obviously you're not going to have that. But also like, I don't know, there is something exciting about doing live stuff that you're like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
ooh,
For
who's going
sure.
to pop in today?
Yeah.
What comment am I going to get today? What person is going to find me
Yeah.
today? Who's going to raid me on Twitch today? Who's going to do this today? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's the element of sometimes you're like, I'm streaming to nobody right now. And that's kind of fun sometimes because you never know who's going to pop in at what time. And I like
Exactly.
that sometimes when there's only, I like my stream. Sometimes I have streams where I have heaps of people in the chat and I'm like, this is fun. But then sometimes I have streams where I'm streaming to one person and I kind of enjoy it just as much because
Yeah.
I'm just intimately having a conversation with someone and I'm just live. Like that's fun to me. Well, I know you pop in sometimes on my nighttime stream because you're up for work. And you'll see me playing I play like Red Dead or something at those times because I'm just like, this is just chill. Usually there's a couple of people here and I have like the best time. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people
Those are always fun.
some people find that so off-putting to have like no one in your chat, but I'm like, that's kind of fun to me. Like I kind of find it challenging because I'm like, who's gonna pop in? Because no matter what, there's always someone that pops in, and it could be someone new, and they've never seen me before.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of yeah.
Like it's like a not so much like a maybe it's like you could look at it as a challenge, but like yeah, it's like that's how I would attack it if I was doing that, and somewhere down the line maybe
You
I
should
might
do it.
try dabbing at it.
You
I think I
should
would be
do it.
okay.
Upgrade your
Yeah.
upgrade your hardware. Upgrade your
I would have to do that first, but I feel like I would be pretty good at. I feel like I would be okay.
You do between two beards in that, and it's just adding the element of you're playing something at the same time, or not. You don't even have to play anything. You can just chat. But like Twitch is fun. I always say that to people. I'm like, if people ask me if like, especially people in like real world, if they're asking me like, oh, you still do content? I'm like, yeah. They're like, what's your favorite part about it? I'm like, no disrespect to anything that I do, but Twitch streaming is the best part about it because I'm already arsing around playing a video game anyway, so I may as well just stream it. Like, what's the, you know what I mean? So, that's what I kind of go into that. Twitch streaming is, I mean, I don't think I'd be doing content anymore if it wasn't for Twitch streaming because I obviously started with a podcast. And like you said, I always kind of wanted to do a podcast at some stage. I was like, I want to do a podcast. That'd be fun. And then I just did it. And then it just, I've been doing it for 3.5 years and haven't stopped. Well, I mean, I've stopped doing, this is a podcast, so this has come back. But I mean, I stopped doing a podcast about a year ago properly every single week and then kind of just dabbled in it. And then I was like, I found Twitch streaming and I'm like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
Also, it's so weird to say this, but how are we coming up to a year of Love Wrestling?
It's wild. It's wild. Like literally a couple weeks away. 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
New Year's Day is a
And it's
year of Love
it was a
Wrestling.
pretty, I would say it's a pretty successful first year. We got some pretty good traction, a lot of fall, like we got some good stuff. So it's really,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty impressive the footprint that we've made in just 1 year. So,
And were you a part of it from the very beginning, from January 1st?
I was
You weren't.
early on. I started in March. So
Yeah,
I
I
was a
knew it
couple, I
wasn't
was a
far
couple
off,
couple
but-
months in. No,
Right.
I wasn't. Yeah, no. So I was a couple months in. I'm in the early batch of the group, but I wasn't one of the originators. No, but I got in pretty early. So
I can brag
it was-
about this
but-
to the day I die, because I'm like, it was Spencer, Zach, then me. I'm like, I'm in the OG3,
Yeah.
bitch. I'm
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
OG3.
Yeah.
No,
I
I'm
think,
kidding.
honest to God, I think Spencer and I had a chat once, and I was like, so how, what, no, not that I care, but I was like, so like, what employee number was I, kind of thing. And he was like, oh, you were there. I'm like, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's pretty good.
I'm still like that one that's like, I wasn't like Spencer and Zach who were like this, but I was like just on the outskirts, and I'm just like,
Exactly. Yeah.
I still will say this to the day I no longer can. I don't know why Spencer chose me in the first little, like that first person outside of Zach
he
was me.
chose you because you were
No, but
good
we
at
had
what
never
you do.
spoke at that point. We had
Yeah, but
interacted on
he probably
Twitter.
followed you, and he had to have like followed.
He
you
had to have
and
seen
was a
what I could
supporter of
do.
yours.
And
Yeah,
I
of
just
course.
stopped podcasting at that stage. It was such a weird time because I thought, I'm not going to make wrestling content anymore. Like, I'm just going to stream on Twitch. I'll guest on people's shows if they want me. But I was like, I'm done making wrestling content because I just wasn't vibing. I'm still not in love with wrestling like I used to be. It's a different love.
Yeah.
And I was like, this was like a month after I stopped that, and I got a message from Spencer. I'm like, even when he was talking to me on that first Zoom call, I was like, you do realize, like, do you have the wrong person? Like, you do realize who you're talking to? It was so odd. It was just really, it was
Yeah.
really weird. It was a really weird experience. I don't mean weird in a bad way. I just mean it was a really odd kind of thing to happen. And it was just weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is I know we've kind of spiraled out, but I mean, it all ties up. We wanted a wrestling podcast at some stage, but yeah, just a year of love wrestling. So that is
Wild.
bizarre. That is bizarre.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. It's fun. I love it.
It's been a blast.
Oh, by the way,
without that, we wouldn't be doing this.
Exactly.
So,
we wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for that anyway. So,
yeah.
So I should say, as we kind of wrap things up here, next Monday, 8 a.m. Australian Central Daylight Saving Time, it is the final episode of You Have It. Shayna Baszler is my season finale. So wrapping, me too. And trust me, I've already recorded that video. I have a little bit. It's a little bit it's a little bit ranty, and I didn't mean it to get a little bit ranty.
I
got a little ranty.
I like the Josh rants.
I didn't mean to get ranty, but I'm pretty pissed off with some things with Shayna Baszler. So I'll just leave it at that, and you can watch the video on Love Wrestling.
Fair enough.
So it'll come out Sunday night for you guys in the States who are mostly listening to this. So you know when it kind of drops. But that does mean that next week I will have a little bit, by the time this episode airs, by the time you have it comes out next Monday, there will be a little bit of announcement about the return of the Legacy of, which, as you know, Legacy of is my baby. It is what kind of got me the most attention that I've ever got with content in my whole time. So, and it's very, trust me when I say this, I really am hyping this up for a reason. The Legacy of is not going to be the same as it was the last 25 episodes that I did. It is very different, and it is very, very good. I've nearly got the first episode pretty much wrapped together, and trust me, the subject matter, the person that I'm talking about, plus the actual video itself, Spencer hasn't even seen this. Nobody has seen this but me.
Ooh.
And
all right.
I'm very ready, but you'll know some stuff about the Legacy of, about when it's coming back, about possibly who it's coming back with at the end of next week to kind of wrap up 2022, wrap into 2022, wrap up 2021, going into 2022. But it will be back in January. But yeah, I'm very excited for everyone to see what I've got cooking for the Legacy of, because it's it might change some things. I'm very
Mm.
confident in this piece of content and what I've got happening that I think we could. I'm going to really attempt to try to take it to the next level, and we'll see what happens. But I'm very excited about it, and I don't usually hype up my content like that because usually I'm like, it's fine, like just watch it
Yeah.
if you want to watch it. But this one, I'm like, this
Yeah.
is for if you're a wrestling fan that likes learning about wrestling without being saturated in education and saturated in facts, instead of just kind of wheezing in kind of my opinion and still just presenting it in the way that I can. I think this is a piece of content that any wrestling fan can watch and any wrestling fan should watch about people watching wrestling right now. Because we've
Nice.
done a lot of stuff with the legacy of, we've talked about different women and some men, and I did a ECW one. I will say this, legacy of those bigger episodes that I did on ECW and stuff like that. I am cooking up something else for next year that will kind of counteract to ECW, and it's going to be in the same vein as ECW, and there is going to be one more frequently like that. But don't worry, for all the people that just love listening to me talk about women's wrestling, I ain't going to stop that because it's where my bread and butter is, and it's where I feel like I excel the most. So don't worry about that, especially the first episode that's coming back. I'm not going to say who.
All right.
I'm not going to say who, but I'll leave you on that tease. But yeah, I'm hyping it up. I'm hyping up for a reason because I do truly feel like I've got something really, really cool. So yeah, but that anyway.
Rock and roll.
Enough about me. Next week we will be back with a Christmas episode. We're going to talk about all our Christmas memories and stuff like that because Christmas is a fun time as much as it doesn't feel like Christmas time this year. It is still Christmas, and we'll have a Christmas episode next week. And then we're rocking and rolling, and God, we might do like, I don't know, man. It's crazy to think that we're going into 2022.
I know. Well, the last week of the year could be a fun episode if we picked a couple topics and thought like, we haven't talked about it, but we could do like, what are our top 3 albums of the year, top 3 TV shows of the year?
We could do that.
You could
we could just do a year in review,
like a year end. Yeah, year in review. What was the, your favorite? Not that most news is not good news, but like,
what was your favorite COVID related news this year?
News, but
the Delta variant.
Yeah, really. I saw a meme. I think they call it a meme. I saw a meme earlier today, and it was just some guy. He just goes low key nervous about heading into junior year of COVID, guys.
Honestly.
Oh my God.
And
I saw it and I was like,
they're just like, the fucking Omicron, whatever the fuck it's called. They're like, now it's got a sister variant. And I'm like,
it is what it is. It is what it is. It's like, look it. Again, I don't want to, I feel like but like, it's not going anywhere.
No, it's not.
Like, the flu at one point was new. And everyone was like, what the hell's this thing here? And then they figured it out and they took vaccines or medicine, and the flu has always been around, just not everybody gets it all the time. And that's what COVID's going to be. It's going to be around. You're going to get COVID, but if you're vaccinated, it should be okay for you. And you're going to get sick. So like, it's going to be here forever. There just has to be a point where we're all just like, okay, it is what it is. It's not going anywhere. There's going to be other ones, but we're at a certain number that we feel comfortable with. Life, and
basically, and I mean, that is what it is. And people think New Year, it's all going to stop. Nah, bitch, it didn't stop this year, and it's not going to stop in 2022 or 2023 or 2024. It just is what it is. So just like it or
started
leave
in
it.
March of 2020, and I think the first couple news things were like, oh yeah, maybe we might be in a couple months maybe. Oh yeah, all right,
no problem.
How about 3 years?
Yeah,
how about 3 years?
Yeah,
how about 3 years?
Honestly, it is. But, it is. Whatever.
It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, it's great. Love a pandemic. Just love being in it. But
we'll never forget it. We'll tell our grandkids.
One day we'll be like, remember, when I was your age, I was not allowed to leave my house. You little shit. So shut the fuck up.
Leave the house. Except we had to because we had to go to work, but we couldn't leave the house, and we couldn't leave the house without a mask. You would get yelled at if you were out in public and you didn't have your mask on. Great.
Fucking great. It's fucking great.
Great
By the
times.
way, I'm a
What a time.
trooper. Before we go away, I'm a trooper at work right now. I'm trying to get into the Christmas spirit so bad that I'm wearing a mask and a hat in the middle of summer.
Good for you.
And
Yeah,
I'm
that is
just a
incredible.
sweaty mess when I get home. I get home, my
Oh,
face
yeah,
is
I
just
bet.
sweating. My hair is like saturated. I'm like, all I want to do right now
Yep.
is just get in the shower and wash my fucking body because I'm just a sweaty, disgusting
I've been
mess.
sweating my ass off for 8 hours.
We're having many hours and, you know, running around in Christmas time and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. So
100%.
is what it is. You'll have
Oh,
Between Two
man.
Beards. Are you sticking to the same schedule with Between Two Beards over the next few weeks with Christmas and everything, or you just haven't thought about it?
Yes, because Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are on Fridays.
So you're fine.
So there's no holidays on Thursdays. And yeah, we just had our last Quizplex, so we'll be 8:30 p.m. for at least the rest of the year. So at least through the December.
And for you
Obviously,
guys,
I don't think we.
well,
Oh, go ahead.
go on. Oh, I was just going to say for us guys in Australia, Friday mornings is when Between Two Beards is on around about, depending on where you are, 11:30, depending on where you are in the country. But that's when Between Two Beards is on. So I think it will be a midday for a lot of people in
Yeah,
a lot
but
of
you know,
Australia.
you can find it on Love Wrestling afterwards or whatever. Obviously, we do incorporate the chat, how Josh mentioned a little earlier. So like, it's a very interactive show. So if you have the time, please hop in there. It'd be great. And Josh is involved in our show every week. He has popped on. He's popped on like spur of the moment a few times when he's had a couple rants and he's been in the chat. So we decided like, hey, how do we get him to just kind of be on all the time, even if he can't be on? So we have a little segment called Josh Robinson Unhinged, which he gives us a little minute or two of his time where he kind of goes on a rant about something.
I think it might be nearly due for a live pop in sometime. Maybe I should.
Yeah,
maybe it's time not inviting myself onto a show because that's the worst thing ever. But also, like, I'm around if you need me on a Friday morning. For me, I'm around. So like, if you need a guest, if you're ever like, we don't have a guest, I'm sure I could pop in and be like, what's up? Let's do a draft. You know what I mean?
We will be reaching out. Yeah, I'm sure we will be reaching out to you. I am sure. We love having you on there. So
Between Two Beards is very good though. It's the flagship.
Oh, thank you.
It's the flagship.
That's no quotations. No quotations.
The flagship.
The flagship.
I mean, the legacy of, but you know, it's fine.
Well, no, we've decided that you called it something else.
I think what did I call it? I don't know.
You were in the chat. There was right when Pluggo started calling us the flagship, and you were in a fun way, but you were fighting us in the chat, and then you said, fine, then legacy of is this. I'm drawing a blank on it too. But
yeah, I can't think of what it was.
I was like, that's right. Legacy of is that, and Between Two Beards is the flagship. That's what we're doing. So
I don't know what it was either, but okay, yeah,
it was a good word though. It fit. It fit.
I remember it fitting, but for the life of me, I can't remember what it was. Whatever.
But no, yeah, we'll have you on definitely again.
It is a fun show. So
if you're free, let us.
Yeah, of course. I'm free most Fridays, so.
All right, good to know.
Yeah, so
thanks for saying it's good. Appreciate it.
It is a good show. I like it. I pop in from time to time when usually I stream and then raid you guys on a Friday morning. So usually I pop in and say hello. But yeah, I do. Isn't the English language so broken? I do. But that's what I have to say that I do Unhinged. I hate the English.
Yes.
English is such a stupid language. It really fucking is so broken.
You know, like
why is there three?
It's really one of
theirs. Why is there three different versions of the word there?
It's one of the hardest languages to learn. And I feel like people that are especially from here or speak it fluently, no matter where you're from, but Americans have a different type of attitude behind them.
Oh, we do.
But if you're not from here, like, you kind of don't understand how hard it is for maybe someone who's lived their whole life in another country to come over here. George Carlin has a really good, if you were to Google or YouTube George Carlin English language, he has like a 7 or 8 minute video where he talks about
how horrible
language and like the different words and different things, like how insane it is. And it's an all-time classic video. I highly recommend it. But yeah, I couldn't imagine what it would be like learning English with multiple words spelled the same way but mean different things.
It's dumb. That's what it is.
It's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. Like you said, like there's 3 different, you can spell out there 3 different ways. And depending on just an arrangement of different letters, they all mean 3 different things.
It's so stupid.
Like, okay, well,
literally, it's dumb as toast.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
But anyway.
Is what it is, I
digress.
guess. Yeah. Is what it is. We're gonna say goodbye for this week. Like I said, we'll be back next week with a Christmas episode. I might try and jazz up the graphic for you guys that has some fucking Christmas lights on it.
I'm gonna have to try to find. I'm gonna try to find a Santa hat.
I'll wear my Santa hat. I don't think I have any
I'll
Christmas
match you.
shirts.
I will match you.
I don't think I'd have any Christmas shirts.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Maybe I'll
don't
try to
know.
find an ugly sweater too. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, let's
But-
do something. We'll make it Christmassy. I mean, I'm wearing a fucking NXT Takeover Brooklyn, the best NXT Takeover.
I'm in a
Suck- suck on that,
I'm
everyone.
in a Chris Jericho. I'm in a Chris.
I
Jericho
seen you
shirt.
in that shirt quite a lot. You like that Chris Jericho shirt,
It's a yeah. I like the color scheme on it. I like the dark colors.
gold. Where I'm
So-
wearing yellow, and it's got like.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
this
it's like
is-
a gold and white. Yeah,
I mean, this
it's
has
like
got
the
like.
demo god.
I think
That's
this has
what
got stuff on. It's got stuff on the back of this shirt too that says like, Sasha Bailey, Brooklyn, the date and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
this has got like, obviously this match is very special, and I mean, this is the
Mhm.
first takeover like in an arena. I feel like this will
That was
always
the first
be
one. Yeah, the Brooklyn one was the first one at a not a home site.
and I feel like it still is my favorite takeover. Some people say takeover New Orleans, and I understand, but I really love takeover Brooklyn. Just that card
Oh,
is
it's great. Well, the whole takeover was good, but that match specifically
Oh,
is
best
an
match
all-time
of all
match.
time. It's
it's up there.
it's
It's
fantastic. I could
it's
still watch that
way
match to
up
this
there.
day and go,
wow.
wow.
I could watch it at any point. At any point.
I think I could
At
nearly
any
recite it
point, I
move
could
for
watch that
move.
match.
I could be like, she does this here, she does this here, but I don't care. It's
Mhm.
always on my
That-
list of like when people are like, I want to watch pro wrestling. I'm like, that's got to be in there at some point to show them like this
Yeah.
is what great pro wrestling is. I
Mhm.
just don't know how you could dislike that match. But anyway, we need to do like an episode of one of these one day where we watch a watch along, where we watch a match, like we watch this match and we watch it on here together. Like that'd be a fun time just to. We've
Yeah,
never
I would
watched.
100%
We've
be
never
down for
really
that.
watched wrestling together because
No, not really.
we could do it on Discord. It'd be really easy to do. So,
Yeah.
we'll do it one day. One day, guys. That's just in the pipelines. We're just spitfiring stuff. But we will see you next Monday. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow us on whatever platform that you're following us on. All our links are on the screen or in the description. If you're listening to this on whatever platform that you're listening to on, we'll make sure that our links are available to you. Until next, what day does this come out? Thursday. Until next Thursday. We'll see you on the next one, folks. Goodbye, everyone.